Welcome to the final part of this Everything You Need to Know Before Rhythm of War series. This is a prelude for Rhythm of War, so obviously there's going to be massive spoilers all the way up through Dawnshard, and I'm going to be mentioning some things about Mistborn and Warbreaker, but I'm not going to be talking about key plot points, so probably some spoilers. What we know is constantly evolving, and I'm certain that Rhythm of War will definitely add a lot to our knowledge pool. But something that Oathbringer gave us in like a small little morsel, I think Rhythm of War is going to give us in dish after dish, just doling it out, is the cognitive realm as a whole. Rhythm of War seems to be focused on Fabrials and the Unmade, and more spren coming to bond with Knights Radiant, as well as potentially more consistent access to the cognitive realm with Yasna and presumably other Elsecolors, along with the newly discovered power of the Oathgate to be able to take you to the cognitive realm. Now, because there's so much that you have to understand, I want to start wide and focus down, because there is a lot of information that's never unpacked lecture style to us. It's never really fully explained all at once, and a lot of the technical stuff is lost in the annals of the words of Brandon archives. You gotta stitch it together like a grandma quilt. So here I am. Call me Professor Grandma. I'm here to help you out. First, I want to talk about the Realmatic theory of the Cosmere. Realmatic theory is the study of the three realms that make up the Cosmere, and presumably the rest of the universe in Brandon Sanderson's book series. These three realms are the physical realm, the cognitive realm, and the spiritual realm. The physical realm is exactly how we perceive our universe. It's the natural world as we experience it with our senses. Space, time, empirical sciences, these all exist in the physical realm of the Cosmere. The spiritual realm is a timeless singularity that contains the ideal version of all things. So it's like a black hole filled with everyone's fan fiction. It exists beyond space and time, and it has no dimensional size, as all that it's made up with is investiture and connections. It contains the spirit webs of people, which are kind of like souls, but significantly more measurable, and it also contains most of the power of the 16 shards of Adalnauseum. This is also the realm that you would need to look into if you wanted to see the future in the Cosmere. Perception is a really important concept within the Cosmere. We don't have a whole lot from Brandon on perception, so here's my best interpretation of everything that we do have. The spiritual realm holds the ideal version of any given thing. The cognitive realm filters the ideal version into what is manifest in the physical realm. Kaladin's Shash brand in the spiritual realm is assumedly not on his perfect ideal version of himself, but his cognition agrees so much with the brand that no amount of healing will get rid of it in the physical realm. This is the work of perception filtering the ideal. This is why Lopin regained his arm when he had healing, but Risen could not heal her legs. Lopin never perceived himself as disabled, but being disabled is a key character trait now of Risen. It's the thing that she has to work through. Her perception of herself is that she is disabled, that those legs do not work and cannot work, and she has to find ways around that, not find ways to make herself be able to have her legs again. And because of that perception of herself, no amount of healing is going to be able to deal with that. So what is this cognitive realm all about? What is this filter doing? What happens there? Reading the Stormlight books, especially Oathbringer, you get the idea that this is kind of an alternate world of the physical realm. It's like a mirror world or a shadow world, but that isn't actually the case. The cognitive realm, while mirroring many aspects of the physical realm, is the world of the mind, a place where even non-living things have their thoughts and feelings known, where even they have a cognitive aspect because people perceive them to exist. Space is a very weird concept in the cognitive realm, and I'm talking about physical space, not space, the final frontier, or whatever. Places that have no cognitive presence are way smaller than ones that have thinking beings on them. So planets filled with people take up significantly more space than space does take up space. Follow me, camera guy? This is why it's significantly easier to world hop through the cognitive realm than it is in the physical realm. In the physical, you would need faster than light travel to be able to move from planet to planet. But because the amount of space that outer space takes up in the cognitive realm is so much less, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. You can skedaddle all over the place fairly easily. Though I will be interested to see how easy this is in the future when planets start to get colonized by other people and the amount of space in between worlds starts to expand as more thinking beings start to exist. Traversing to the cognitive realm from the physical realm requires the use of a perpendicularity. This is a point with such focused and massive amounts of investiture that all three realms collapse into each other. Most existing perpendicularities are caused by the existence of shards. This is because shards are one of the most invested beings or things at all in the Cosmere. Should a shard exist on a planet for long enough, a perpendicularity is certain to come into existence. Should a shard die or leave the planet, that perpendicularity in most cases would then shrivel up, losing all of its investiture, and then stop existing. existing. However, there are a few, like Honor's perpendicularity on Roshar, that still exist despite Honor being dead. But Honor's perpendicularity is famous for being unpredictable and unstable, and we don't know much else past that, so it's pretty hard to say why it exists still, but also it's hard to say that those uncertainty principles are because Honor is gone. Nightblood, if left around a perpendicularity long enough, would be able to close it. Different invested arts, like some of the types of surge binding, like Elsecallers or Lightweavers, are able to open up a significantly smaller perpendicularity than what may exist out in the world, and they're significantly more temporary than what the shards are creating, but they're able to do this and traverse to the cognitive realm as well. The cognitive realm includes all planets of the Cosmere, though each area of the Cosmere that the planet takes up manifests differently in the cognitive realm while maintaining a few key characteristics. But even some of them are up in the air. Sometimes these might not even be true, but we have seen these to be true in a few of the planets that we've seen the cognitive realm on. They're kind of like countries in the world. They're all a bit different geographically speaking, but there are still people there. There's still dirt on the ground. There's still oxygen in the air. These different countries of the cognitive realm are referred to as subastrals. The differences from subastral to subastral is highly dependent on the way that the people on that planet think. The cognitive realm does mirror geography in some ways. There is a fluid-solid inversion that takes place in most of the subastrals that we've seen. This mirror effect is where the bodies of water in the physical realm become solid land, and then the land of the physical realm become bodies of liquid, though that liquid changes from planet to planet, again, based on how the people think. And these geographical things exist in the cognitive realm because people are thinking about them in the physical. If a lake were to be drained or filled in with dirt in the physical realm, the cognitive would change slowly over time to become more perceived as land instead of as water, which makes sense in like a super artsy way, right? If you live by a lake your whole life and then you go off to college, and then while you're at college, the lake gets filled in, and all of that time spent at college when you're not near it and you don't know, you still think of that area as a lake. Now multiply that by thousands of people who may not know that it's turned into land, and until those people have forgotten about that and the only people thinking about it think of it as solid land, the cognitive realm is still receiving some input that is still water. Scadrial's subastral is referred to on the Roshar and Shadesmar map as the expanse of vapors. This is where the physical realm's solid land is made of liquidy mist, and all of the liquids are a dark stone. Cell's subastral is referred to as the expanse of densities. Odium splintered and trapped the shards of dominion and devotion in the cognitive realm, where normally most of their investiture is in the spiritual realm. This locks away the connection that most people on a planet have to their shard, which is why the magic there doesn't exist anymore. Their investiture has combined into what is known as the door, and this takes up most of their subastral. People that go to the cognitive realm on Cell unprepared are ripped apart. The Eerie, who are Elantrian world hoppers, presumably inhabit this area. And if that's true, we saw in Secret Archives that this area has jagged rocks that look like trees. We don't have much else to go on to know what this subastral looks like. By the way, people can 100% be from the cognitive realm. I want to make this clear. They can be born there, they can grow up, they can die there, and they can never know the kiss of the sun on their face, or never smell the grass, or eat a pancake. This complete cognitive realm living happens in the city of Silverlight, which is a city that exists only in the cognitive realm and doesn't exist anywhere in a mirrored form in the physical. Ayatil Mrezes Babsk, while having Southern Scadrian ancestry, was born and raised in Silverlight. Now, this takes us to Shadesmar, which is just Roshar's translation for the cognitive realm, and that's kind of confusing, right? You could refer to the entirety of the cognitive realm, all the subastrals, as Shadesmar, and not technically be wrong. But for clarity, I will refer to the subastral of Roshar as Shadesmar. All non-living things in Shadesmar appear as small glass beads, and living things appear as flames. The water in the physical world is a dark obsidian in the cognitive world, and all the physical land is replaced with oceans of beads. If you're good enough at it, you can take one of the beads and you can manifest the physical object in the cognitive realm. This is the land of the spren. The term spren to a Rosharan is anything from beyond the physical realm. So shards, cognitive shadows, these all are Rosharanly categorized as spren. But the actual spren, and what I will be referring to when I say spren, are the flame spren and the glory spren. These spren are splinters of honor and cultivation. The one must note that not all spren found on Roshar are splinters of specifically honor and cultivation. Some came to Roshar before honor and cultivation came to the planet itself. These are directly splinters of Adalnalsium. It's said that even then, they still kind of have some of cultivation in them. And we have some information saying that Roshar was built for a purpose, so it's really hard to tell what's going on in the early history of Roshar. Just one of life's big mysteries right now. Hopefully books 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 will answer that for us. Now, a splinter is a fragment of investiture that has come from either a single shard or a group of shards. In Warbreaker, the Divine Breaths are splinters. On Sel, the Skazi and Sions are splinters of devotion and dominion. On Scadrial, there are no splinters of ruin, preservation, or harmony. Atium and Larazium are just condensed forms of their investiture, but they are not in fact seen as splinters of the shards. Spren are generally a personification of a cognitive ideal or concept. Because they are cognitive in nature, they of course are born into and majorly exist in the cognitive realm. These splinters can be given cognizance by the collective thoughts and experiences of the sentient beings in the physical realm, though they aren't always given sentience. Flame spren, a non-sentient spren, are based on the ideal of fire in the spiritual realm. And people always be thinking about fire. Sometimes arson's okay. The cognitive ideals that create spren are very similar to those that determine the looks of a returned on Nalthis. That is to say, heavily based on human perception. The spren on Roshar are divided into nature spren and emotion spren. Emotion spren are attracted to human sensations like joy, passion, feelings of glory. These spren are composed more of honor than of cultivation. Nature spren, like wind spren, rot spren, decay spren, naturally have more cultivation in them than honor. Though they don't always appear, they are ever present, right on the cusp of the physical and cognitive realm, and will likely appear around their namesake. But there are instances where, say, if there's a large crowd and emotions run high, you might not see that many anger spren there. The spren are further categorized into true spren and lesser spren, and lesser spren are the non-sapient spren like flame spren, but some can still speak. It's not actually conscious speaking, it's more like a bird talking at you. We kind of see this with the way that Kaladin reacts to Syl when she first tries to speak to him. He doesn't see it as completely weird, but he kind of sees it as pointless to have a conversation with this wind spren. Lesser spren vary significantly on how much they appear in the physical realm versus the cognitive. Wind spren almost exist entirely in the physical realm, but others mostly exist in Shadesmar, with only a portion of them ever actually peeking into the physical realm. Lux spren, for instance, look at like small little arrow creature things, and they follow around chulls, but they're massive and they're used to tow around ships in the cognitive realm, and they'll actually drop from the cognitive realm into the physical realm, so you have to have multiple Lux spren towing your boat just in case it drops, and then you're just kind of stuck there for a little bit. The true spren are spren that have sentience. They tend to represent higher concepts, like truth and lies are represented by cryptics, and honor is represented through honor spren. While there are 9 types of true spren that can bond with the 9 radiant orders other than the Oathbringers, there are still non-radiant spren that have sentience. We see in Oathbringer, the honor spren ship is crewed by mist spren, which are sentient spren, but they're not one of the radiant spren. They don't form a Nahel bond with someone. True spren have their own cultures, they have their own cities throughout Shadesmar, they shape and rule this world independently of the physical. Just how Silverlight exists in the cognitive and nowhere else. There are city-states and full-on nations run by spren that people on the physical realm will never even see. True spren tend to spend a majority of their time in Shadesmar, only ever really moving to the physical realm to form a Nahel bond with one of the Radiants. And this is because traversing from realm to realm causes massive deterioration of their memory, and it can mess with their cognition. There are also other bonds that spren can form that aren't just the Nahel bond. There's a spren that bonds with great shells and other large beings on Roshar so that they can grow to the size that they are without all of that weight crushing their organs. We saw this kind of with Chiri Chiri in Dawnshard, having to bond with this spren to keep her healthy. Singers also have their own form of bond by letting a spren into their gem heart, and this lets them take on different forms like mate form or war form. And this brings us to the unique spren, the wild ones out there, the good catches. They're one of a kind, or at the very least, they're extremely rare. The Stormfather, the Sibling, the Night Watcher, these are all fully sentient, unique spren. And then there are the Unmade, also unique spren, but not all of them sentient. These spren, the Unmade, are splinters of odium. There are implications that these beings were once something else, but what that was is yet to be revealed to us. Let's run through this list of 9 bad boys, because they're not going away anytime soon, and I feel like they're going to be really important in Rhythm of War. Also, side note, all of these names are stupid, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce them. Ashert Marn is the Heart of Revel in Oathbringer. It's a mindless Unmade that leeches out influence over people, driving them to psychotic excess and celebration. So he's kind of like that one dude at the frat party that's trying to get everyone to fight. He was successfully chased off in Oathbringer, and now we don't know where he ran off to. Otto Mishram is considered to be one of the most intelligent Unmade. She has the ability to grant void light similar to Odium, and was helping the singers in the past. She hasn't been seen recently. We believe this is because she was likely captured by the bondsmith Malishi in a perfect gem way back in the day. Chemoarish? Chemoarish. I mean, okay, no, this name is just Moash if you remove a couple letters. So Moash is elusive. We don't have a lot known about them. She is referred to as the Dust Mother, and that's really all we know. Digonarthus may have been involved in the scouring of Amia. He's known as the Black Fisher, and there is some debate by scholars on Roshar if he is actually one of the Unmade, but no one knows. He hasn't been seen in a long time either. Moloch is the Unmade that is responsible for the death rattles that Taravangian is tracking to fact check his diagram. We haven't seen him physically appear anywhere yet, but we know that at one point he was in Kharbranth, but he has since left and made his way towards the Horneater Peaks. Ner'gul is responsible for the thrill that made Dalinar barbecue his wife, and it's also what caused Sadeas' army to go against the Alliance during the Battle of Thaylen. His enormous cosmic power has been trapped in the itty-bitty space of the Perfect Gem by Dalinar at the end of Oathbringer. Reshafir the Midnight Mother was the non-sentient Unmade that was in Urithiru. She was sending out those clones reenacting crimes, and thanks to Shallan, she got evicted immediately, and it's unknown where she is. Sia Anat is one of the more intelligent, and she's able to corrupt spren of all kinds, including some of the true spren like Renarins. She's even able to corrupt Oathgate spren, as we saw in Oathbringer. She is the Unmade that seems most likely to turn against Odium, and could maybe be swayed. At least that's what the Ghostbloods believe. And finally, there's Yelignar, the Blightwind, the snack that smiles back. If you eat him, you get all of the surges. We saw Amaram slam down that Jujubee back in Oathbringer, and if you're not able to control him, he will consume you. So I think Amaram's probably not even going to come back as a cognitive shadow. These Unmade are going to be extremely important, probably in Rhythm of War, and definitely in the 5th book, because I don't think we're actually going to see Odium make it to the back 5. And a lot of the information that we get is in the epigraphs of chapters, and sometimes I don't even read those the first time through, so I just thought I'd bring all of that Unmade information here in one place because I didn't know a lot of it. But there we have it, everything you could possibly want to know about the cognitive realm. If you found this interesting, if you found it useful, please hit that like button. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. I'm releasing videos every week, a lot right now focused on the Cosmere, but I talk about all books, big book positive person. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you next time, but until then, stay lit.